Hey, what is happening, bulls and bears? You're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust. My name is JJ. Today is Saturday. It is June 17th, 2023. Let's get into the biggest news of the week, and I got some bits of new news that I haven't covered yet here on this channel. But first of all, let's go back to what I dived into a little bit yesterday on that report, and that was the resumption or the continuation of the bank runs. Now, over the past couple months since the banking failures that we saw back in March, we initially saw some pretty big outflows from banks. Then we saw a couple weeks of inflows where deposits and people's savings and checking accounts were actually increasing, and people were depositing more than they were taking out. Now, when people continually take money out, that's what's known as a bank run, especially when they do it in a very rushed fashion or panicked fashion. So we did see what would be defined as bank runs here over the past few months, and those have now resumed. What I think happened was, and I talked about this before, is that people got their tax returns, they put their money in the bank or direct deposit. Most people do that now. So that caused a temporary uptick in the deposits. But here we go. Bank deposits take flight for the first time in 4 weeks. Deposits at U.S. banks fell $79.2 billion from a week earlier. That's not all. We are seeing some tightening in lending, but not as much as you think. And actually, some lending actually increased, right? So here's the shocker right here. Residential lending increased $31.2 billion. $32.1 billion. So you would think with home prices starting to come down in a lot of areas, most areas, that banks would be more restrictive on their lending, but no, residential lending is increasing even with the higher interest rates, even with the economy slowly turning into the disaster that it is. Also, commercial real estate loans climbed $1.2 billion. Consumer loans were up $1.3 billion, folks. This is why we don't have a falling cost of living. This is why we don't have crashing prices in homes, in vehicles, and in most things that you buy, because of the lending. So it's pretty simple, folks. Is if debt keeps climbing, we're going to continue to see inflation. It's as simple as that. If you look back at the 2008 financial crisis, at a chart of debt dropped drastically. Consumer debt, corporate debt dropped drastically because banks became very restrictive on their lending. If banks are still going to keep loaning out money because they know they're going to be rescued, so this is really interesting. So even with the bank failures, we still have a lot of lending going on. That's why we're not seeing bigger price corrections and faster price drops. And how do we prepare for this? Well, listen to a word from our sponsor, and I'll be right back on the other side to tell us what we need to do to prepare. Reign in wealth like King Charles with a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments. Just as King Charles's magnificent gold crown symbolizes wealth and power, a gold IRA can fortify your own financial kingdom. Imagine the confidence that comes from a retirement backed by a tangible, proven asset, gold. An asset that's not at the mercy of unpredictable market swings. A gold crown may not be included, but isn't a future free of financial stress a worthy throne? Like royalty, enjoy the luxury of choice. Gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, the realm is yours to command. Fend off concerns about economic downturns and let your wealth thrive with the timeless security of precious metals. This month, the first solid quarter-ounce gold standard bullion coin ever issued with King Charles III's image can be yours with your own qualifying gold IRA or 401k rollover of $50,000 or higher. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. Call Noble Gold Investments at 877-646-5347 to get started, or visit bullboomgold.com. That is bullboomgold.com. Link down in the description of this video. So prices are going to remain sticky unless we see some sort of freeze up in the banking system, or the grid goes down, the system gets compromised, something like that. Maybe an attack from another country, a cyber attack or something like that. Prices are going to remain sticky. Even with failed banks, we have big banks, mega banks, buying up or taking over the failed banks, and therefore the lending still keeps going. You see what's happening here? So we have the CEO of First Republic Banks, First Republic Bank, one of the failed banks that failed back in March. The CEO got promoted to be the head of a central bank. So these people are not afraid of their bank failing because they're just going to get a bigger, cushier job. Now all the frontline employees and the little people at the bank that are losing their jobs, they're more afraid than the upper level executives, management, the CEOs, CFOs, etc., because they're just going to go on to get a better job in Wall Street within the banking system somewhere in the world, right? So even though banks may continue to fail, we're going to see these banks get taken over, gobbled up by the bigger banks. The bigger banks are going to continue to loan out money because they're too big to fail. They have the endless bailout promise from the money printer, so to speak. So this is going to make things sticky as far as the cost of living. I hate to use the word sticky because that's what the quote-unquote officials have been saying. But it's going to be a slow decline. Prices are still going to remain elevated, and that means if you're living paycheck to paycheck now, you want to take some precautions because you don't want to find yourself not able to pay your mortgage, not able to pay your rent. This thing is really tricky to try to navigate. You want to look for investment opportunities. I wouldn't be wasting money on unnecessary things. Of course, not too many people heed that advice. There's a lot of people going to go out to amusement parks and ball games and buying $5 hot dogs, $15 beers, all those things. And maybe that's your plan too. Maybe you just want to spend money because you know you can file bankruptcy and it doesn't matter in the end because you erase the debt and you turn around and do it all over again. All I'm saying is it only makes sense to have a month of preparations on hand, a month of living expenses, a month of food, a month of water, essential items needed for survival. That's all I'm saying here. Have fun, spend money, go out to the amusement park, go out to a ball game, go waste money, go to the casino. I'm not saying not to do that. I don't do any of those things myself, but I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. As long as you have preparations and you're ready for this whole thing to come down, or you're ready for this thing to just keep going and eat further into your savings and further into your paycheck. If you're okay with that, that's the ball game, folks. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. A little bit of a shorter report today. It is Saturday. Quick note: Texas is getting a massive heat wave. And they're saying that the grid over there is under a lot of stress, the electrical grid. But yet, everybody go out and buy an electric car because it's good to have an electric car when the electrical grid is already under stress. That's the joke for the day, folks. Crazy, right? Everybody, big love. Happy Father's Day weekend to all the fathers out there. I'm going to do a little celebrating on my end here with my little ones and my family. So all the dads out there, keep being a good dad. And if you're not a good dad, start being a good dad. Your kids need you, especially now. Their future is going to be very, very rough. Be there for your kids, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Big love. Keep stacking, folks. Peace.